blast off. Let's get it. Let's get it twisted. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on in the world. You know, wait, I was gonna show you the cutie Cinderella thing, but yeah, no. This morning I worked out. You know, got my upper body push day in, feeling pretty good. You already know what it is, okay? Nico Avocado dupes the world. Dr. Kid Inspect defenders are out and about 3 days till debate 58 till date. Sounds like you're losing your voice. No, I'm not. No, stop sending me links about fucking resto mod cars. Like, brother, I'm like, oh yeah, I like a resto mod. Megaphonic sends me a fucking link of a dude like who resto modded his own car in his fucking backyard. Like, that's insane. Okay, buddy. Light news reacts galore. Wukong chapter 4 ends. Get in now. Nico Cotto Avocado, say his name right. Trump's talking live right now about how the military's gay. My goat. He's right, and he should say it.
To curtail the power of federal bureaucrats.
Bro, there are 57,000 motherfuckers watching him right now on Right Side Broadcasting in Wisconsin, talking about how the military's gay as hell. Oh my God, look at the bulletproof window glasses inside of. That's crazy.
Oh, there's a rocket. Oh, look, a rocket's flying. It's Elon.
Elon. Anyway, who do we have? Do we have a blast off meme or what? Trump over Hasanabi Piker. I mean, it's true. Give Murad a restoration project in your garage. No, he doesn't have enough time. I didn't know this, by the way, but like, or rather, Murad had told me, but I forgot about it because it's been a long time. But Murad worked on that fucking Starliner project, and here I was shitting on it nonstop, not realizing. And he was really stoked when it was like landing. And I didn't understand why. And I thought he was just like defending Boeing. Turns out no. And because it works. Like, it's not like, I mean, it was successful. Or you have Moran on stream cheering for him when it launched, fake brother. Lamau Starliner his ass, shame on him. Yeah, he didn't work on the fucking thrusters, okay? He worked on I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this shit. Whatever. All right. And also, it don't matter. That shit works. So, hey, take an L, everybody who fucking hates Boeing, myself included, okay? My man still got it. If it's Boeing, I am going. If it's not Boeing, I'm not going, okay? Here it is. We're blasting. I promise I'm not trying to stir drama, but why is TYT, more specifically Anna, pushing the Venezuelan gang lie? Why? Because they're truth tellers. That's why. Going as in flying out of the plane midair, going to the afterlife. I don't want to hear jokes anymore. Okay, we're back. Boeing is back. Boeing is back in a big way. All the projects that my brother works on, they're good. Okay, I don't give a fuck about any of the other ones. But RFK has another bug video, which is sick. Wait, what's happening?
Doctor,
wait, was someone?
Thank you very much.
Oh, someone died.
You don't talk about it. Okay, medic, please. Doctor, thank you.
T alert, I ate the ass of a VP at Boeing when he finished screaming Vroom. When he finished, he screamed Vroom. Okay, I broke up with my boyfriend because he wanted me to come live with him in Elon Starbase City because they make all the engineers live right next to the rocket, but he still sends me insider trading tips. Nice. I think that's illegal, but get your money up. You know what I mean? Admitting to a crime is crazy in chat. Yeah, Israel confirmed killing its own hostages under Hannibal directive. Yeah, chalk that up under, oh my God, I'm shocked to find out. You know? Why does Trump have this silly ass glass between him and his fucking hog fan base? I don't know. I don't know. It seems like a safe ass space. Oh, it's because there's no guns allowed. I think that's probably what it is, because there's no guns allowed, so he feels unsafe. Because if there were guns there, he would obviously feel safe because like it would be a hard target, not a soft one. Okay? Yeah. Secret Service and bulletproof glass for me. Permitless carry and no red flags and AR-15s for disturbed kids for thee. It's true. I just don't understand why, like, there isn't more active protest from the Republicans, right? Because, like, on the Democratic Party side, like, people are protesting the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is, like, claiming to be on the side of, like, a ceasefire, but they're not offering it, right? So people are understandably protesting that. But on the Republican Party side, I just don't understand how they're not protesting the fact that they just can't bring their guns to a goddamn Trump rally. Like, I don't get it. You should want to bring your guns to a Trump rally because do you not feel safe? This is a lie taken out of context. He didn't say this and you know it, disgusting. Yeah, I mean, he did. He literally said, he literally said, sorry, I hate to say it, but it's a fact of life. School shootings are a fact of life. And he did say that. I mean, he didn't like admitting it, but he said exactly that. You probably saw this, but it's funny. Lupo has the best response. I did see it. It's fucking awesome. Critical support. Well, not even critical, unconditional support to Dr. Lupo. He's a great dude. But also, it makes me happy that there's like sane people in this space still. I think another really funny reaction to the Dr. Disrespect stuff was obviously from Nick Merckx. You are literally so wrong about it. Hassan, stop debating the same shit, please. You are wrong and you know it. Yes, you owned me by simply saying you are so wrong. Stop debating the same shit. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, which would be a 3-parter debate, by the way. Okay? Which will get you banned. So, what's up? You're in a unique predicament now, chatter, where you have to be like, am I gonna fucking follow through and try to debate you at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break? Or do I just double down on my stupidity and act like guns are not the prominent problem here? I'm literally owning you as we speak, my boy. Oh no, he is a dumbass hog. Okay, awesome. Go ahead. You have the floor, okay? You have the floor, sir. Go ahead. What am I wrong about? By the way, at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. Ladies and gentlemen, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster who is currently in the process of getting owned by David Sunray, who believes that gun violence cannot be curbed. And as a matter of fact, it is a fact of life. And weirdly enough, the only country where this happens is the United States of America, where there are more guns in circulation than there are people. Here's a 3-minute ad break now for all of you as we wait for this one dumbass chatter. I'm on the dance floor and chat agrees with me, David Sunray says. All right, he used deflection. It was not good. No, we do not. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but that person is not like, I don't think that person is thinking clearly, okay? I don't think he gives a shit that the entirety of this community is like, no, you're a fucking idiot. All right, let's continue.
Just turns on people? Bitch, what? You want me? What the fuck do you expect? What? You should hold every person that you respect accountable for their mistakes too. So in the situation where a person that I was working with consistently on both game development and my career as a streamer at the same time, we had collaborated multiple times. Suddenly it turns out that years ago he tried to message a minor to solicit them for sex, and it got caught, and that's why it didn't happen. You expect me to not turn my back? Bro, y'all, there's no way you do not have fucking brain damage from this. There's absolutely no way. If anywhere along that path you go, oh, that's fine, you got something fucked up in your head, dude. I don't give a shit. Clip it, put it on LSF, tag him. I don't give a fuck, dude. He messaged a 17-year-old when he was in his late 30s with a child and married, trying to solicit them for sex. And
it is a breath of fresh air to be reminded that there are like normal adults whose brains are not like warped entirely by algorithm driven clout sharking and starstruck parasocial behavior. You know, that makes sense. I mean, he is a dad, so that makes sense. Okay, thank God that there are people with fucking normal insane takes. Holy shit. Yesterday it made me feel like I was losing my mind a little bit.
Every single time he talks about it, it's going to be sugar-coated, it's going to be dumbed down, because at what point do you expect someone to say, yeah, I wanted to fuck a teenager? Do you think he's going to say that? Fuck no. He's going to make it look better for himself every single time. There is no place along that. It doesn't matter if it's Tyler.
I'm not gonna lie. I think as things currently stand, as like American society is getting worse and worse overall, and maybe even getting closer to Europe in our analysis of immigration, maybe this is another European ass attitude that we will adopt as well, which is lowering the age of consent and normalizing trying to have sex with teenagers as grown ass adults. I do fear that that is the pathway we are heading down. I legitimately did think, perhaps I was wrong on this, but like the one thing that everybody kind of collectively agreed on was like pedophilia is bad, okay? Like trying to fuck minors is bad. I actually thought this was a universal American principle, and it turns out I was fucking wrong, dog. I was wrong. There are hella Americans out there who are like, actually, when I say pedophilia is bad, I just mean like I hate trans people and I claim that they're pedophiles. But when my favorite content creator is like outed as one and openly admits that he was trying to fuck a minor and like, text a minor and whatever in a gross way, and doesn't actually accomplish that goal, right? But like is still attempting it and he gets caught in the process of attempting it, then it's actually fine and dandy. And I don't have an issue with it at all. So yeah, weird stuff overall. Monkey's paw. You get EU healthcare, but you get also EU age of consent. But we don't even have EU healthcare. We tactically avoid all of the good things that the European Union offers to its fucking citizens. Okay. We are genuinely allergic to like any of the good stuff. No fucking social safety nets, no fucking labor protections. Okay. No free healthcare, no like genuinely no free pharmaceuticals, or at least like, relatively affordable pharmaceuticals. None of that shit. Okay. No collective bargaining for, no sectoral bargaining, no bargaining agreements when purchasing pharmaceuticals. None of that. Just European attitudes on immigration. No fucking public transit, which is also in a state of disrepair in Europe as well. So no like rehabilitation focused prison systems. None of that. We get guns everywhere, guns in every corner, guns in every city block, guns that fucking will inevitably be used in school shootings. And that's it. And now we're also fucking, no privacy, no tech privacy regulations. That's another one. Technically, EU healthcare isn't free because you pay through it with taxes. Thank you, sir. I had no idea. Thank you for bringing up this point. Now, insurance isn't free either, okay? What do you think insurance is? You're paying in for insurance. That's another thing you're paying for. You're paying for insurance. It's just shittier. It's a shittier product. Okay? You're so smart, Chatter. Thank you for owning me.
If it was my fucking brother, I would say the same shit. Because you do not defend that. There's no defending it. Get your fucking head out of the gutter. The brain rot is fucking killing some of you, and it blows my fucking mind. Yeah, he's going to have a fuckload of people over there that are watching him because they don't give a shit. They just want their fucking balloon animals from their clown and to move on because that's the community that he's grown. That's fine. Whatever. I don't give a shit. But if you expect me to associate with that, or anybody that has any respect for themselves to associate with that in any way, you're fucking lost.
You might be wrong about the European thing, which I am. I thought he was a pedophile. Now learning he was 17, I just think, especially given he is married, that he's a straightforward, morally corrupt, dirty old man. Yeah, you're doing it, man. You're proving the point that I was making in terms of like European understandings of like trying to fuck minors. Okay, one, we don't know if this person was 17 or not. That's just not a thing that we know. We just know that they're a minor. And two, it doesn't matter. They're still a fucking minor. And you are talking about a 35-year-old trying to fuck a minor, okay? In the United States of America, that's considered pedophilia. In Europe, people have a different attitude about that sort of thing, okay? Not in America, until recently, until Dr. Disrespect and his bold Sneeko-style defenses for this kind of thing is genuinely changing people's attitudes on this situation. 17-year-olds have homework. from high school. 17-year-olds have pop quizzes that they have to worry about. 17-year-olds are not paying fuck taxes yet, okay? Please stop. There's a difference between a 10-year-old minor and a 17-year-old minor, surely. Yeah, there is. But currently, as it stands, if you're using that as a distinction, the only reason why you're using that as a distinction is because you want to fuck 17-year-olds. That's it. That's the only reason why you would be making that distinction. Like, oh, well, one is like more morally permissible than the other. No, dog, it's still statutory rape. Okay? That's crazy. That's crazy that we're having a conversation about statutory rape. Okay? Notably said minor and not teen. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Minor, teen, teenagers are minors. Unless they're 19. Like, I often joke about Gen Z who like hyper focus on age gap, inappropriate age gaps. I think that's funny, right? People will be like, that's the worst thing you can do. Like, people will literally be like, Adolf Hitler had a fucking age gap, inappropriate age gap with Ava Braun. And I'll be like, that's not relevant, right? Like, that's not a relevant point here. Like, you are such a fucking Zoomer brained weirdo bringing this shit up, right? Like, that's a joke. That's a funny joke. But holy shit, they're right. Gen Z is right, okay? Zoomers are fucking right. A lot of y'all are gross as fuck. That's all I'm going to say. If you're doing actually it's a phebophilia argument, you're kind of gross. What the fuck? Like, oh, well, this is a more this is a more understandable minor that I want to fuck is not the argument that you want to make, okay? It's not. It's not an argument that I think is a valid argument, okay? Like, it's a crazy argument, as a matter of fact, for people to be like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's not a baby that this person is trying to fuck. It's not like a kindergartner that this person is trying to fuck. It's a teenager that is still a minor that this person is trying to fuck. Like, oh, this is a more acceptable minor that you want to fuck? Is that really? This is the distinction that we're making? Okay? For a 35-year-old man with a wife and kids? Like, this isn't like he was 19, she was 17, they were in high school together type situation, okay? What the fuck? Ugh. Excuse me, guys, please, there is a distinction. This is, excuse me, guys, there's a distinction. This is a minor that I think is hot, is not a good argument, okay? This is a fuckable minor as opposed to this other minor that I consider to be unfuckable is not a good argument that you're making here. Like, you're not exactly a champion of social justice in this circumstance. Just letting you know, okay? I don't understand why people still do it, even though it is a ridiculous argument. Okay.
Boss, dude, it's very clear cut. He said on Twitter himself that he messaged a minor and they were inappropriately. He said those words himself. Yeah, he went and deleted it and tried to edit it multiple times. But y'all, what the fuck is wrong with you? Pull your heads out of your asses. This is not a thing to argue about. This ain't like support. Yeah, this isn't a fucking. This isn't a cultural thing. It's not like some singular event at a time. This is a dude tried to fuck a teenager. Done. Yeah, well, Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld's fucking gross too. I see people bring that shit up all the time. Still disgusts me as well. Seinfeld was a shit show anyway, but that's besides the point.
You also making this argument when you say it's not a 17 and 19 same high school situation. You do realize personally that there is a reason for why they have like Romeo and Juliet laws. It is not so that like creepy ass fucking 35-year-olds can fuck minors. It's so that if you are in a relationship with someone when you are in the same high school, you don't automatically cross a magical boundary and, you know, go to jail over continuing your fucking relationship. Okay. Like, that's why there is some legal boundaries in a situation like this. Do you understand that? Which is why it's always weird when people fucking bring that shit up. Criminalizing sexuality between teenage peers is deranged and right-wing weirdo shit in his own way. Yeah. Like, it's so stupid. You chatter here, but the day someone turns 18 is suddenly morally A-okay in the States, like those OnlyFans models who get 1 million followers on their 18th birthday. Bad babby. U.S. morals seem weird in that way. No, you're absolutely right. It is weird. It's weird. Okay? At that point, it's just weird. Do you understand what I mean? Like, it's weird, it's gross, it's just not illegal at that point. It's still weird as fuck though, because you're kind of admitting, you're like, oh yeah, no, this shit is hot to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it. Okay? You're right though. When was the last time Libs at TikTok called queer people an ephebophile? Even hogs call everyone pedos. Differentiating is weird. That's the law, not us. Yeah, the only time hogs will do actually it's ephebophile arguments is if it's like a hog that is in the crosshairs and they want to defend the hog. Then they go, oh, actually it's ephebophilia. Anyway, let's continue.
It's that. That's it. Done. He messaged a 17-year-old while in his late 30s trying to fuck.
Yeah.
Done.
Thank God
The
that
end.
there's like actual fucking sane people. Holy shit, dude. Please, you can learn a thing or two from Dr. fucking Lupo here, all right?
Don't be fucking weird. Log out of your PCs, go out, touch grass, and think about reality. Is there a place for forgiveness? Not from me. There's some shit that you just don't do, man. I don't know, trying to fuck a teenager doesn't seem like the right thing to do to me. Anyway, hey, where do you go?
That's the wild thing is just like he's right. He's right. Okay? He's right about he like it's crazy. It's just a thing that you don't do, man. It's a thing that you don't fucking do. And I cannot believe it, especially when Dr. Disrespect fucking admitted that shit. And there's still people being like, nah, this is sick, dude. He makes me laugh. Like, he makes me laugh. I love when he puts on the fucking wrestling outfit and like calls me a champion. It makes me feel like I am a champion, like actually. So it's cool that he, as a 35-year-old man, trying to fuck a minor. Holy shit. The US is hella weird about shit like this. Look no further than the barely legal category on porn. I feel like barely legal used to be popping when I was a teenager. I don't even know if they still do it. I mean, it still very much exists, right? But I feel like even porn is like fucking moving away from that category. It's all MILFs now, lol. I know MILFs have had a massive fucking come up. Some dude on my local subreddit was defending landlords of being racist to immigrants. I looked at his profile. He's a huge Dr. Disrespect fan. That's awesome. Now, of course, there is always a place for forgiveness for everyone. Okay. Rehabilitation is key. Rehabilitation is key. Okay. That's a real thing. And that is a real principle that I have. The issue is you have to at least like atone. Okay. You have to acknowledge, atone, seek forgiveness, and truly demonstrate that you have rehabilitated. A lot of these motherfuckers never acknowledge or atone. They're just like, nah, dog, I did that shit and it was awesome. Okay? It's not popping off. I would say you just age with the actors. I'm not trying to defend pedos, but how does your whole everyone can be rehabilitated principle fit into this scenario? No, it still works in this situation as well. 100%. In every situation. This worker at a day program I go watch his doctor's patient as a sexist creep. Yeah. Oh, a lot of people don't understand it when I talk about this shit, by the way. Oh, this is actually a good take from Nick Merckx. Like, his brain is not that broken. So that's good. That also made me a little happy. This R-word Dr. Disrespect is married with children, pushing 40, admits to texting a minor inappropriately. His words, not mine. So I cut ties, obviously, because that's inexcusable. Now I'm a shit friend for not having his back. Bunch of brain rot morons on this app. Who are you debating in 3 days? Your mom and dad. Or perhaps there is a much larger debate. Debate lords are so funny. They're like, oh, minus 3 days for debate. He must be debating someone. Let me look no further than that. It's like, no, I'm not debating some like random fucking YouTuber, dog. The two presidential candidates are duking it out, okay, in the marketplace of ideas. Why would you debate his mom and dad? Well, it's sometimes like male female threesomes are kind of difficult logistically, I've heard, so that it usually turns into a debate like who gets to have Chatter's mom's mouth and who gets to be behind Chatter's mom, you know, like how do we establish positions in the devil's three-way, that kind of thing. That's what we're going to be debating, like the logistics of it all. Do you fuck his dad too? Sometimes, if I'm in the mood. Not sure if you saw this, but it's so over, Lamau. Per Pooler, Harris says she's honored by Dick Cheney's endorsement. Oh my fucking Lord. Oh my Lord, dude. Oh my Lord. Harris, full quote on the Cheney endorsements. Actually, I was honored to have their endorsements, and I think they both, as leaders who are well respected, are making an important statement that it's okay and it's important to put the country above party. People are exhausted about the division and the attempts to kind of divide as Americans. And them stepping up to make this public statement, I think, is courageous. But also for people like the folks I was just talking with, it really reinforces for that we love our country and we have a lot more in common that separates us. Dick Cheney is a war criminal who is responsible for the death of millions, okay? Millions. The destabilization of tens of millions and the direct deaths of millions. So the idea that you are welcoming his endorsement as the Democratic Party's presidential candidate, especially at a time when like the overwhelming majority of Americans view Dick Cheney as a bad guy in general, because like we have moved beyond thinking that the Iraq war was justifiable to, oh yeah, that shit was really fucked up actually. And we definitely did it just for oil. And so that Dick Cheney could turn profit for Halliburton. Okay. Like 20 years past the point when we all know that this shit was wrong and bad, where Dick Cheney has no constituency whatsoever. Okay. The country club Republicans are gone. They're gone. That's not a real thing anymore. To welcome this endorsement is so fucking stupid. It is so unimaginably stupid. And if Donald Trump was like even remotely fucking intelligent, which he is not, okay? He is not at all. He would be using this to his advantage to be like, this is why I'm anti-establishment. You got motherfuckers like Dick Cheney, a war criminal, okay? Straight up. You should just be like, Dick Cheney brought us into endless wars in Iraq. He wanted to go to Iraq. I wanted to get you out of wars. Kamala Harris will do more wars. I will end them. Boom. It's over. It's over. Welcome back, George W. Bush. The surrogates are doing it. Trump surrogate Tulsi Gabbard to Trump on Tucker Carlson. Dick Cheney has just made the choice very clear. Vote for Kamala Harris, a vote for Dick Cheney, the architect of everything that has gone wrong in the Middle East for the last few decades. Dick Cheney. Like, I hate this because, like, Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump are both monstrous, violent, bloodthirsty pieces of shit, right? Like, obviously, they are. Tulsi Gabbard literally went to fucking Africa to do CIA operations in the midst of her anti-war candidacy, okay? She wants to laser Muslims. So, like, for her to be able to position herself like this frustrates me to no end. Same with Donald Trump, okay? Donald Trump accelerated drone warfare. Donald Trump assassinated a fucking foreign general. Extrajudicial assassination of a top general from Iran. Like, Donald Trump was definitely not a peaceful dove. Donald Trump was not even courageous enough to actually pull out of Afghanistan. Joe Biden did. Joe Biden did do that. But the reality of the matter is they're not even positioning themselves as anti-war, which is really fucking stupid. It's stupid. They're dumb. The Democrats are dumb. Americans, by and large, are not as bloodthirsty when you ask them directly on this issue. And they're like, would you rather have 800 military bases or fucking healthcare? They'd be like, healthcare. Not a question. Healthcare. Okay? The motherfucking military members will probably say the same shit. I don't know what to say about this. I don't think Americans view liking Dick Cheney as being bloodthirsty. No, Americans don't like Dick Cheney. The Republican Party doesn't like Dick Cheney. Americans' view on the war in Iraq is unfavorable by large margins. Donald Trump literally won in 2016 by positioning himself. Barack Obama won in 2008 by presenting himself as a better option over Hillary Clinton because he did not vote to invade Iraq. Okay, that's number one. Then Barack Obama, of course, did the surge and all this other stuff, but that's besides the point. Okay. Donald Trump came in and literally, once again, positioned himself as the anti-Iraq war candidate in 2016. In 2016, against Hillary Clinton, who he called out as a warmonger. Donald Trump positioned himself as the peaceful dove to Hillary Clinton's warmongering ways. It worked. He won the election. Okay? Here.
We turn now to Saturday night's Republican war in Iraq. was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, it took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It took him 5 days before his people told him what.
Trump lost the popular vote. Oh my God. Oh my God. I didn't realize that the popular vote is how you won elections. That's so crazy. Wow. You mean to tell me that there are more registered Democrats in this country in totality than there are registered Republicans? What's next? Are you going to tell me that land doesn't fucking vote? Yeah, I know all of those things. That's just not how elections are won and lost, okay? The Electoral College, unfortunately, still currently exists, right? At this stage, a Republican losing the popular vote but still winning the elections is a guarantee, okay? The last time that shit happened, it happened once in the last like 40 fucking years, by the way, okay? And that was post 9/11. That's it. George W. Bush second time. That's it. That's the last time in the fucking past 30, 40, 36 years now. The last time a fucking Republican won the popular vote and won the presidency was a one-off post 9/11.
What to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
I'm sick and tired of Barack Obama blaming my brother for all of the problems that he's.
Yeah, he ripped his asshole, and he ripped Hillary Clinton as well. Okay, he ripped into Hillary Clinton and said Hillary Clinton was pro war in Iraq. He was not. Since George H.W. Bush in 1989, it's only been 2004. Yes, post 9/11 was the only time that a Republican won the popular fucking vote and then won the presidency. They've won the presidency a bunch of times, just never won the popular vote because you don't have to. It's a patently undemocratic process. Anyway, my point is the Democratic Party, for some weird fucking reason, this was in 2016 when he positioned himself as an independent moderate. I'm not convinced any of this will work in 2024. Really? That's interesting that you say that because I can't speak for the polling on Ukraine, but I can speak coherently on the consistent polling on Israel, where Donald Trump is outperforming Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden by double digits, and now Kamala Harris almost by double digits. One must ask the question, how? One must ask the question, why? A dumbass looks at that and doesn't look at any other polls and says, oh, that's because Americans want more war. They see Donald Trump as a warmonger. Okay? If you look at the other polls, Americans are consistently demanding a ceasefire, even opening their minds to the idea of denying weapons transfers to Israel. Okay, these are like unconscionable positions that I never would have thought the American public would be broadly in support of by majorities, like 5 years ago even. Okay, so maybe it's because Donald Trump keeps positioning himself as a motherfucking peaceful dove. People believe it. They're stupid. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why you have to campaign. That's why you have to message. That's why you have to have messaging discipline. And if the messaging that you're putting out there is you want a lethal military, you want hard dicks, you want the most militaries that you've ever, you want the sexiest, hardest fucking military with the best weapons. We love war. Then people are going to be like, oh shit, she wants war. That's crazy. Donald Trump, on the other hand, regularly is like, well, I'm a peaceful dove. No new wars under my 4 years. No new wars under my 4 years. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are responsible for 2 new wars. It's crazy. It's stupid. It's idiotic. One must ask the question how Donald Trump is going to end the war in Ukraine, or how he's going to end the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. But of course, in order to do that, you would have to at least have signaled to the world, to the American broader electorate, that you are the anti-war candidacy. Kamala Harris has not done that. This will be a big issue. Okay? This will be a big issue. partially because Trump is also really stupid and objectively running a bad campaign. Americans have broadly made up their minds on Trump. I will keep repeating this point over and over and over again. Okay? But these are just gimmies for Trump. You're just basically allowing him to present himself as an outsider, number one, and also a peaceful dove as opposed to you, that he calls you a fucking warmonger. Okay? And honestly, saying shit like, oh yeah, the Dick Cheney endorsement is great when he is either not exactly fondly remembered or people don't even think about it at all, overestimating logic again because they don't know if they want to be anti-war or not. Overestimating logic again. No. If we're looking at like a vibes-based analysis, okay, Americans broadly consider themselves to be like peaceful, okay? America has to be the world police, but also simultaneously, like, there are instances where we go above and beyond. People literally do not favor the war in Iraq. They just look at it as like, that's not a good thing that we did. That was a really bad thing that we did. Okay? Even if you're not going to be peaceful, messaging as though you are is objectively a successful way to run a campaign.
Be sure about who they're voting for in this election. Dick Cheney has just made the choice very clear. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, the architect of everything that has gone wrong in the Middle East for the last few decades. Be sure about who they're voting for in this election. Dick Cheney has just made the choice very clear.
The whole point is to show fractures in the Republican Party because people vote along party lines. So the hope is that it gets half-assed Republicans to reconsider. Yeah, dude, no. Okay? No. You're wrong. Okay? You're objectively wrong because you're not talking about a person who is like a beloved figure in the Republican Party. Even John McCain at the time, despite my disagreements with him, despite my hatred for him, would have moved the needle in a more significant direction, especially in a place like Arizona. Dick Cheney does not, okay? Dick Cheney does not move the needle in a positive direction. No actual Republican is going to go, oh my God, Dick Cheney, former vice president of the United States of America, Dick Cheney, is endorsing Kamala Harris. I'm going to do it now. I'm doing the dang thing. I'm also voting for whoever is going with Dick. Why do you think Kamala said accepted the endorsement if it hurts her outright? I mean, chatters are already repeating the fucking assumptions that they think the Democratic Party is making and presenting it as though it's a good idea. If you want to understand what the reasoning behind it is, listen to the chatters who get paid $0 from the DNC to operate like fucking DNC wonks in here. As though they are being paid by the Democratic Party. They are defending the decision because they reflexively defend every decision from the Democratic Party because they think they must know more than us. They must know more than this random fucking dickhead Twitch streamer. And I totally understand why you would think that. Okay? I get it. Like, who the fuck am I? Like, what do I know? You know what I mean? I just simply do analysis. I look at polls. I do analysis. I covered the news. I'm just some random idiot, right? The difference is I'm also showing you like as close to evidence as you can possibly get on shit like this whenever I make an argument, okay? In terms of like polls. Yeah, no Republican voter is loyal to Cheney. He's widely despised everywhere. This endorsement is a signal among the ruling class, the establishment, the Acela Corridor, Washington, D.C. elite. This is about solidarity of the establishment versus an outsider who humiliated them. Or at least that's what Trump can say. Except here's what Trump is saying instead.
To indoctrinate America's youth with all sorts of things that you don't want to have our youth hearing. Ultimately, we'll live, and you know what we're doing here.
They do know more. They're just hedging their bets. And at least in my case, I'm trying to consider all possibilities for the sake of conversation. No, they don't know more. Like, their instincts are bad. If they did know more, 2016, Hillary Clinton would have won, okay? Like, that's the problem. And then people get shocked when they fucking lose. Okay? That is the issue here. They don't know more. Okay? They don't have good instincts. They only win because Republicans are unimaginably unpopular. Democrats never actually play to win. They just play defense a little bit and they wait out their time. They wait out until the Republicans completely fucking upend the American economy, cause global instability, And 8 years after, they're like, all right, it's our time now. And then they do this for 8 years. They run with progressive policies sometimes, and other times they even moderate their positions. And then they fucking turn around and never actually end up unrolling the Republican right-wing slant that they spear dick all over the government. They never actually rolled that shit back. And as a consequence, we have like more austerity, shit gets worse and worse year over year, deregulation, tax cuts for the wealthy. And then that's deeply unpopular by the end of the term, right? Sometimes 4 years. This is one of those unique instances. But usually in the end of 8 years, then the Republicans come back again, fuck the bag up one more time. Democrats just sit and wait until they are so deeply unpopular and despised that they can take advantage of it. There is no clearer indication of this than Roe v. Wade. The only reason why Democrats got a lifeline in 2022, and the only reason why Democrats currently have a lifeline now, is because of Republican success. Republican success in terms of rolling back civil liberties, in terms of cutting off access to a medical process that is supposed to be kept, that is supposed to be a decision that's kept between a patient and a fucking doctor. The Republicans said, nah, fuck that. I don't consent. And they took that shit away from half the goddamn population. Not entirely half the population, but they're threatening to take it away from half the fucking population across the board, but certainly have taken it away in red states. That's the only reason why Democrats are even in the conversation right now. That and the fact that, you know, Republicans are just like insane. They are too successful for their own good. And that success has caused them to think like, oh no, our policies are objectively popular. We're just weird. It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you understand about the peace candidate play? What is this? The two things they think Trump are going to make his big points in the debate are end the wars, Kamala isn't, and crime is tied to immigration, and crime is at the worst ever. So lies and fear mongering are his platform. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. Of course, lies and fear mongering are his platform. But what is the Democratic defense to that? Especially when she is running the fucking build the wall narrative herself. If you've already ditched the counter narrative on immigration, then it doesn't fucking matter because both parties agree with the underlying premise, which is faulty, which is completely made up, right? Immigrants are not responsible for a spike in crime. There is no spike in crime, and immigrants literally do not cause more crime per capita than natural born US citizens. Okay? The problem is when you have messaged that you also acknowledge that there's an issue in terms of national security with immigration, you're done. You're done. You're done. You're fucking cooked. Okay? You're now in Republican territory. Okay? You're now firmly in Republican territory. You have already conceded all of the underlying positions that you could fucking launch against his lies. Okay? Fair to say an increase in population here, but nothing more. You aren't wrong. Yeah. Trump's plan is to say migrants are coming to do crimes, and the Dem play is to say we'll be better at stopping them. It all comes down to who trusts who more. The other question that we never even end up asking in this situation is that good for the future of America? Like, do we want the Democratic Party to be the concentration camp party? Is that what you truly want? Like, we're not even scratching that surface yet. Yeah, but can you really say there is no issue? People feel more unsafe even though crime is not up? Yes, I can. Okay? I can. It's about winning a song, not scratching that surface. What do you mean? Okay. Donald Trump says 100 concentration camps. Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris says, no, we're going to do 70 concentration camps instead. Did you really win? What did you win in that situation? You always say moderate voters are a myth, but expect me to believe a person was going to vote for Kamala but actually change their mind because they say, oh, right, Trump is peaceful. That's not a moderate voter. A person that's like interested in voting for Trump is not a fucking moderate. What are you talking about? Come on, you know she isn't going to do that. What? What are you saying? She is literally adopting the underlying premise that immigration is an issue that needs to be tackled with national security. Immigration is a criminal problem that requires criminal prosecution. That's what the Democratic Party did. This wasn't even Kamala Harris's direct responsibility or fault. It was actually Joe Biden who signaled that this is what he was going to do. After going back on his first 100 days of immigration strategy, he completely fucking dropped that shit, switched it around and said, no, we're going to put the fucking kids in cages ourselves. Oh, the Republicans are stopping us from putting the kids in cages. The Republicans are stopping us from building the wall. That's an idiotic fucking argument to make. Because the people who genuinely think like immigrants are coming to rape your daughters are never going to vote for the Democratic Party. Okay? They're not. We aren't going to do mass deportation. That's insane. What the fuck are you talking about? We already do mass deportations. Trump is saying we're going to do even more of the deportations that we already are doing. We are currently doing it. You're like, we're not going to do mass deportations. You're insane. So are we pro-immigration and anti-immigration or pro both? No, I'm fucking pro-immigration. Of course I'm pro-immigration. What's really frustrating about this conversation is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's current immigration agenda is literally what they ran against in 2020. Okay. They successfully ran against Trump's policies that they have now completely adopted. If you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. And they did it without even doing compromise, which is already like something that I get frustrated with. Anyway. But yeah, this is a ridiculous argument. Yeah, but can you really say there's no issue? People feel more unsafe even though crime is not up. Yeah, that is an issue. That is an issue that needs to be examined and dealt with. Okay? Because you're currently making an argument about like something that is not the reality, that you acknowledge is not the reality, but people feel like it is. So what do we do about it? Okay? And my answer to that, since literally 2020 and 2021 has been fucking do not give ground, do not cede territory to the Republicans on immigration. There are videos of me in 2021. Okay. Apparently a chatter found this. It took me 3 months after Biden assumed the role of president for me to start criticizing him on immigration. And if you look back at those fucking videos, I very correctly now explain to you that Republicans are going to keep hitting this fucking button over and over again, and the media is going to keep playing ball with them because the media does have a tendency to overcorrect and start forgetting that they were like talking about how Trump was uniquely evil in terms of his like concentration camps and in terms of his like children in fucking cages. Okay. Yeah, it's irrational as fuck, but aren't people too far gone? No, they're not. Okay. They're only too far gone because no one is counter messaging against it. No one has counter messaged against it for the past 4 years, and they still are not. And they're actually personally jumping on the Republican messaging. It is so stupid. Dems in 2020, amnesty now, no kids in cages. Dems 2024, amnesty now, question mark? No, exclamation mark, kids in cages. Anyway, just keep using that cudgel to bludgeon people into voting ever rightwardly and empowering the active shifting of the Overton window by the center right-wing Democrats. What could go wrong? I mean, you've seen what has gone wrong. Obviously, France is a great example of an anti-democratic principle where Macron literally appointed a right-wing prime minister, like refused to listen to the elections that took place. Here, dude, here. Yeah, let's talk about liberals and the way that they are regarding these differently abled facilities.
This is not kids being kept in cages. This is a facility that was opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities.
No, they're going to be nicer cages. Like, you guys are so fucking lame. I don't get it. Under the U.S. law, CBP is required to transfer most unaccompanied children to the refugee office within 3 days of taking them into custody. On Friday, roughly 750 unaccompanied children were in CBP custody awaiting placement in facilities overseen by the refugee office. According to data obtained by CBS News, at least 179 migrant children spent more than 3 days in CBP facilities in January, despite internal policy dictating that all migrants, especially minors, should be released within 72 hours. More than 5 of them were held for over 10 days. In December, at least 48 minors remain in CBP custody longer than 3 days. We can disagree and still be friends means liking a different kind of ice cream, not if it's okay or not to put kids in cages. First of all, they're called immigration overflow facilities, and I really don't have time for this. I'm going clubbing tonight, and I need to hit the tanning booth. Listen. You fool, you simpleton. You do not understand that cages are very different than overflow facilities. Donald Trump's inhumane, fear-based immigration policies are a stain on our nation. This is what he said in February 15th. Last year. We have to get him out of the White House and ensure our laws reflect our values as a nation of immigrants. Cecilia Munoz, who defended family separations under Obama, joins Biden's transition team. We talked about that back in the day. Biden committed to stopping deportations, but 26,248 immigrants have been deported under his watch. Over 1,000 were black immigrants from Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Cameroon. This was happening, this is happening this week. And the first migrant facility for children opened under Biden. And also remember, Joseph Robinette Biden wanted to stop the usage of private prisons in federal, under the federal jurisdiction. He signed an executive action. And what did I tell you? When that happened, there was a carve out specifically for Department of Homeland Security, which is where the federal, where the government uses private detention centers most frequently. So that's precisely why I said, well, this executive order is kind of bullshit because it does not remove the usage of private prisons in ICE detention centers, which is where most of that happens anyway. Moronic neoliberal takes. All of the authoritarian fascists who work for ICE DHS have immediately turned to compassionate and reasonable people now that the bad man is no longer president. Yeah. Is there any nuance with the situation? Is there any humane locations that unaccompanied minors could be housed? Bro loves himself. Dude, what the fuck? Like, that's an insane opinion to have. Like, that's what you think I'm showing here? Oh man, I just love myself. Why is bro watching himself? Bro is watching bro because bro said all this shit in February 24th, 2021. Okay? This was a turn that the Biden administration signaled, and bro was fucking right. Because now, 3 years after the fact, almost 4 years after the fact, we are coming to that conclusion. Okay? The reason why I'm showing you this is because I'm the same guy, I have the same opinions, and I was fucking right. And it's important for a lot of people to also see, because the analysis is still the same. So it doesn't really matter if I'm showing you a video from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, or telling it to you right now. Okay? The reason why I'm showing you this is because there are a lot of people, like, the confidence is important in this situation. Okay? People need to have confidence in my analysis. And one way to show that to you is by directly showing you times where I have said this. And now that we're in the future, we can look back at it and be like, okay, this was correct. Because there was plenty of people back then who were like, I don't know if I agree with you. Okay? They should not be touching any part of the fucking immigration process, in my opinion. Like, unaccompanied minors should not be touching any part of the detention facilities or any part of those fucking processes at all. That is the most nuanced way that I can argue for this. Out on the street then, that's why it's like crazy when people always like, I hear a lot of fucking comments from like the supposedly educated liberal audiences that hate me, where they'll say things like, oh, Hassan has like very shallow, like very surface level opinions. And I think they just like heard someone else say that, so they're just like repeating it. And it's very weird because like they never actually talk about what is my surface level opinion on any of this, right? There's just never. Here's your TYT video on this topic. Yeah, ISIS Gestapo. Yeah, people were like mad at me about that too. Back then. Like dislike ratio. Oh my God, this has 723 likes. What is this? Dems are running on the narrative that people are too scared to vote for a woman for president, so they're going so far to the other side to make her seem like she'll be tough, if not tougher than a man. Every Trump-hating Republican that I've talked to since Kamala's taken over has said they will never vote for her because she's untrustworthy. She's more untrustworthy than Trump. Dems are desperately stupid with this tactic. Yes, you're to a certain degree, you're right about this. But what's actually crazy is that we had someone run to the right of Donald Trump in terms of like being militant and being strong and presenting like a strong foreign policy perspective. Hillary Clinton. And she lost. So obviously, although Kamala Harris doesn't have the same level of baggage as Hillary Clinton, running that exact same fucking route once again, after it was a demonstrable and very, very famous failure, is insane to me. And yes, you're right. The federal government has no way of putting kids in civilian in the company of civilians. You're right. Where would we do that? Where would we ever? How would we ever process unaccompanied minors without literally treating them like criminals? How could that ever happen? Yeah, there is no fucking way to do that without literally traumatizing them by locking them up in fucking cages. You're right. How the fuck are liberals who argued against Donald Trump making these arguments now? Like, I see, even back then, the Democratic predisposition, especially of like this community who was like very locked in and very invested in politics, the immediate liberal attitude is to defend the Democratic Party. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I am going to reflexively defend the Democratic Party. I will not be analyzing this issue. I will not be actually looking at the harm that it's causing. I will not be looking at like the 4-year imaginable L that this will deliver on this issue, a gift to the Republican Party. I will not even make the electoral calculation. I am simply going to defend reflexively what the Democratic Party is doing because they're smart. Okay. They're smart. They're brilliant. They have my back. It's my team. Vote blue no matter who. Like even back then they were doing it. Like you. What? Baby Hassan. Oh, you mean like you. You're not. I don't think you're saying that I do that, right? Because this is objectively me showing you that I don't do that. This is me criticizing the Democratic Party 3 years ago. And I'm using this as an opportunity to explain to you that those criticisms were valid back then and they have created all of these harms now. Okay. I thought you guys hated this shit. You're making the exact same arguments that fucking Trump supporters made with like maybe a little less words. Like you're not adding the extra spice on top of it. Like, well, those unaccompanied minors want to fucking kill my daughter and have sex with her. That's the only thing that you're not adding to it. But you're still defending the same shit. So what's up? Like, were Republicans correct in saying that you just didn't like it when you just didn't like it because the orange man was doing it? So now they're, god damn, dude. It's like I'm talking today. The only difference is the ad breaks are 3 minutes long, you know? Ad breaks are now 3 minutes long. And the way to avoid those ads at the top of the hour are no longer $5, but $6. But it's still free as long as you have a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Now that the other old white guy is doing it, he's doing it in a better way. But they aren't cages. What's the problem? Guy, the Trump administration didn't consider them to be cages either. They said they were like, did they say overflow facilities? I don't know what the fuck they called it. So what's up? Why did you still acknowledge that it was a cage when Trump was doing it, but it's literally not a fucking cage now that Joe Biden is doing it? Like, I don't get it, because they gave you a different description. We were saying the cages were bad because they weren't being treated humanely. Wait, so the expectation is that the very same ICE and CBP officers are now treating them humanely, magically, because Joe Biden is president? Are you fucking stupid? Did you just make an argument that these are humane cages? Biden having contracted out a new child camp to a company with a record of abusing children, feeding children undercooked and raw food, and stealing money from their families when they send them money. The BCFS Health and Human Services is the second largest contractor operating in Texas. The group operates 6 facilities that may accept migrant children. It was founded in 1944, according to his website. At a Harlington facility owned by BCFS, employees were alleged to have struck up inappropriate relationships with children in their care. Children complained of raw and undercooked food. One child in late 2016 suffered an allergic reaction after a staff member gave the child a snack. Another BCFS facility in San Antonio, a staff member last April helped arrange for a child's family member to send money for the child, but when the cash arrived, the staff member kept it. The year before, an employee gave children inappropriate magazine pages that depicted naked women, while a few months before, staff members were found to have failed to supervise their wards closely enough to prevent one child from inappropriately touching 2 others. Reached by phone as a receptionist for BCFS Health and Human Services said she had been told to direct reporters' questions and federal officials at the Administration for Children and Families. Very weak article, my dude. Oh, one kid had a peanut allergy. Big news. Oh, one kid touched others. Shit happens with kids, not news, bro. I can't believe Republicans were right. Like, I can't believe that, like, yeah, I'm here to admit that, yes, conservative Trump supporters were actually correct when they said liberals literally don't give a fuck, and they're not going to care when it happens under Biden. Nobody's defending ICE. We just want to know where to put the kids. I've told you already, foster care immediately, or like to assign them over to the government that functions as foster care, not an overflow facility or not whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's still operating in unison with ICE or to the Department of Homeland Security. And by the way, the foster care system is also broken. So instead of offering contracts like this, fund the fucking foster care system. Saying that foster care doesn't work in this capacity is not an argument as to why we should, put people in prison still, like put kids in prison and functionally jail them. Hassan, 1 month. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get prior policy changed? 1 month? No, I'm aware of how long and arduous the process is. Look at how many people in the chat back then were naysayers already. If you were to go further back in time, though, under the Trump administration, they were collectively in unison, negatively polarized against having reactionary attitudes on immigration. They were fucking probably screaming abolish ICE, as a matter of fact. It's because these people do not have like coherent, consistent opinions. Okay? It's just what the team is doing. If my team is doing it, then it's good. If the other team is doing it, it's bad. If both teams are doing the same thing, then it still doesn't matter. As long as my team is the one doing it, then I will figure out a way to message around it. And it's crazy because, like, this is something I used to shit on all the time. Like, show me the pay stubs. Are you being paid by the Democratic Party to do this defense in my chat? You're not. You're not. Why the fuck? Why are you doing this? It's very frustrating of changing it's deeply unserious. This is one of many different YouTube videos I made on the subject at the time, by the way. There's another one where I also talk about specifically, someone tried convincing me that you're a part of the DOJ indictments. Wait, what? That's awesome. Please tell me more. Like the Tenet Media one, like I was pro-Russia and that like Russia was paying me. Is that what they're saying? Dude, the anti-Hassan hatred genuinely causes people to hallucinate in the same way that fucking Republicans hallucinate. Yes, Nashville subreddit. That's amazing. That's amazing. There was a list of 2,800 influencers that they thought could be useful for the Russian op. Ooh, am I on it? That would be fire. That would be sick. There are people saying you were upset you're not getting paid by the Russian government. Yeah, I am. I'm pissed, dude. I'm fucking pissed. I'm freaking pissed, dude. Unable to process sarcasm. Yeah. On Reddit, in a thread talking about the list, people are saying they wouldn't be surprised if you're on the list. I mean, it's great. The totally non-Russian op Nashville subreddit. They are from Tennessee Oblast, comrade. I found one. Russia is backing 600 US-based influencers. Who's on the list? Bro, this is -1 fucking upvote. How did you even find this? Like, that guy is like terminally brain broken, but you might be fucking brain broken too, honestly. Anyway. Can you do your best? Ukraine is the enemy of the people and limply bang your fist on the table on Venmo you 40K. Ukraine is the enemy of the people. Ukraine is the enemy of America. Tennessee-based Tenet Media, a Russian propaganda project. My money is on Hasanabi getting funded. I mean, bro, he made a lot of impassionate defenses of Russia. Reddit just assigned me that name. I don't think you can at this point. He stands Russia and China. He defends them every chance he gets. Tell me you watch clips without telling me you watch clips. So then do you acknowledge he does this? I started watching Hasanabi back in the 2016 election. Over time, I saw a pattern. And then when he started, he straight up gave a blowy to a Houthi terrorist live on stream. As he called him a hero, I stopped watching. It's awesome. The list is out already? Wait, I want to see the list. I want to see the list. I want to see the list. Where's the list? Yeah, you can tell. You can tell that person is unwashed. What is this?
Zelensky says it's not the right time.
They posted 1 hour ago in the Destiny subreddit. It's an AstroTurf operation. Yeah, no, it's not a Willie Mac fan. It's 100%. It's 100% like fucking rabid Destiny fans, dude. Nobody knows who the fuck I am or cares about who the fuck I am, except for people who are permanently on Reddit and they happen to be a fan of Bonarelli. I've seen some dudes saying you were stupid because you were doing it for free. He's right. They're right. I am dumb for doing my pro Russia aimed propaganda at gamers, minorities, the swing 2024 election. New unsealed court documents reveal unprecedented detail in a campaign called Good Old USA Project. What the fuck? Why is this stuck here? No. List of Russian nationals subjected to sanctions. You've read our complimentary article. That's it? Gamers. Russia aimed propaganda at gamers, minorities. The swing 2024 election is like, didn't you raise like 200K for Ukraine, Lamau? I did. You will never hear the fucking haters talk about that though, because it doesn't fit in the narrative of like I'm pro-Russia. No, it wasn't 2 million. It was a couple 100,000. I can't remember the exact number. This is allegedly from the. I already read this. Yeah, no, I saw this already. We looked into this document. I thought there was a newer version, like a more expansive one. Who pays you more, Russia or China? I wish. Yeah. Dog, I've seen people call you the CIA. Shit is wild. Okay, we're done. We're done with what people call me. Okay. Yes, people have a lot. People are in their fucking fifis. Okay. People are lost in the goddamn sauce. Whatever their enemy is, they just ascribe it to me because most of the analysis is just vibes based. Most people are busy with their fucking day-to-day activities, whether it's the fact that they are permanently unfuckable, whether it's the fact that, you know, the cost of living is high and rent is getting worse and worse year over year. That's what people are predisposed with. So when they see one fucking YouTube video being like, Hassan is this, they watch it and go, well, I've made up my mind about that guy. I didn't like the vibes anyway. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's it. So I don't fault them for having these opinions unless they are like straight up. Unless they are, you know, insane and spend every waking moment hating on me. Okay? But most people in the real world do not know who the fuck I am. And a larger percentage of the people that know who the fuck I am do not have a negative opinion of me. They have a positive opinion of me. That's it. The problem, however, is that online, they made a fake list because they are mad you called them out while covering the tenant media. Oh, they just like added me onto a fake list. That's cool. But point is this, okay? The number one largest percentage of the population don't know who the fuck I am. The second largest percentage of the population that knows who I am at the very least will have a relatively positive view of me, okay? The third group on that line is people who don't have a positive view of me. The issue, however, is that the people that don't have a positive view of me especially are very online, okay? That's it. So that's the reason why you see a lot of that stuff, especially if you frequent Twitter. That's it. There are hate videos of you even in Russian. Wait, really? That's hilarious. I'd love to see that. If you are an independent thinker, okay, then you can make up your own mind. That's the point. Like, you should be able to come in here and make up your own mind, whether you agree with my opinions or not. Don't be fucking motivated by some dumbass YouTuber with an agenda. That's it. I don't want to get lost in the sauce talking about who hates me or whatever. I think it's stupid. As of yet, we can only assert that this is a list of POI, not a list of individuals who receive money from the Kremlin because of your past comments on the Russia-Ukraine war. It's not far-fetched that you could have been identified as a person of interest. Yeah, I know. That'd be awesome. But it'd make me sad because they didn't give me money. They didn't give me 400 grand a month. Anyway, let's continue. Giving attention to the haters is the best way to turn into a locale online. Exactly. Speaking of pro-Russian commentary,
Time for elections. Is this the democracy that we were supporting? How many of you don't care? Raise your hand.
it's so funny because people will come in here and say this about say these exact same words in my chat, and I'd be like, yeah, dude, they're invaded. I guess that's the difference between me and Tim Pool. Well, that and also minus $400,000 a month, you know, from the Russian government.
I raise my hand. I don't care about Ukraine. You know, I gotta be honest. I do care about Ukraine because I've been there several times. It's not like some random country. I've covered the news there, reported on various stories, traveled around Kiev. You know, it is sad. It is sad. But this is exactly why we should not be involved. And this is
some other differences between me and Tim Pool. Hairline. Some other differences between me and Tim Pool. A high school diploma.
evidence of the lie when they said we're defending democracy. No, we're defending Western energy interests. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday, it is not the right time for elections. And at the end of his 5-year term, as the end approaches, Zelensky argued in his Monday video address that Ukraine should not have to deal with elections as it continues to attempt to fend off Russia, which invaded Ukraine in February. He previously had not ruled out Ukraine holding a presidential contest next year, The elections are currently suspended in the country under martial law. And finally, the waves of any politically divisive things must stop. We must realize that now is the time of defense, time of the battle that determines the fate of the state and people, not the time of manipulations which only Russia expects from Ukraine. I believe that now is not the right time for elections. And if we need to put an end to a political dispute and continue to work in unity, there are structures in the state that are capable of putting an end to it and giving society all the necessary answers. So there is no room left for conflicts and someone else's game against Ukraine. Presidential elections in Ukraine are scheduled to take place every 5 years. But it's not going to happen. Why? It's not a democracy. You know what'll happen? I bet the people of Ukraine say enough. The reports are that they're stopping buses, pulling off 50-year-old men and saying, you're going to the front line, handing them a weapon and saying, good luck. And what do you do if you run? Horrifying reports as to what happens to these people who are deserting and refusing to fight. Here's another, here it goes on. Ukrainian First Lady Olena Zelenska said in September that she did not know whether her husband would run for re-election in 2024. She also said that at the time, the country's ability to organize a free and fair election could factor into whether he would run for a second term. It will also depend whether our society would need him as a president. If he will feel that Ukrainian society will no longer wish him to be the president, he will probably not run. But I will support him whatever decision he takes. It would seem that knowing this, that the public does not support him, he's just decided there will not be elections. And this is what we're supposed to be funding. There's this quote as well. People are stealing like there's no tomorrow. So I bring you back to this pathetic.
If you can't give us some financial support, okay, please give us a credit and we will give you back money.
No, you won't. Because people are stealing like there's no tomorrow. Ukraine is deeply corrupt. The United States is using the government, Ukraine and Zelensky, as proxies so that we can try and gain territorial control. Now, with the expansion of war in Israel, the U.S. is being pulled on multiple fronts. And as Joe Biden and Janet Yellen try to claim, of course we can support and fund war across the world. We're America, gosh darn it. We cannot. It's impossible. The U.S. does not have the capabilities. I want to pause, and I want to talk about war. I want you to think about something. How many people?
It's just weird because like he never has like this kind of attitude about Israel Palestine. He's always like, oh, I don't know enough. Oh, I don't care about that much. I don't care about it. Yeah, he put a Ukrainian flag in his bio and an Israeli flag as well to meme chatters. He's memeing. Okay, he's doing that to be like, see, like you won. I'd be easier to take seriously if his conclusion included, therefore we should stop sending aid to Israel. Yeah. A motherfucker who's never been to war getting ready to talk about war. I mean, look, the problem here is that in the sea of all of this madness, there are certain things that he says, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that aren't entirely incorrect. The issue is, of course, he has no genuine opinion on the matter. He has no genuine anti-war position across the board. And beyond that, he's getting paid by the Russian government to say these sorts of things. Hassan, please, you're too charitable. Yes, I am being hyper charitable here. Anyway, yeah, look at that. In your view, should immigration be kept at its present, increased or decreased? Increased, decreased. How did this happen? How did that happen? Anyway,
Migrants in crime are here in our country at levels never thought possible before, never even thought possible. You're not safe even sitting here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's why he has the fucking, the cum jar that he's speaking out of. 1 billion Guatemalans. 1 billion. 1 billion Guatemalans. They're in here. They're killing billions of Americans. Gorillions of Americans are being murdered by 1 billion Guatemalan migrants. Trillions, like numbers you've never heard before.
There are 59 days to go until Election Day, and the next big test in the presidential race comes Tuesday night. That is when Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump meet in Philadelphia for their first ever debate. The Harris campaign is camped out in Pennsylvania, which is seen as a must-win in November for both candidates. Weijia Zhang is traveling with the vice president, and she joins us from Pittsburgh. Weijia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Dana, and good morning to everybody. Vice President Harris is huddling with a team of advisors as she sharpens her case against Donald Trump, who she will come face to face with for the first time ever on debate night. A campaign official says she decided to hunker down and prepare here in Pennsylvania to underscore the importance of this state in the election. The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker shows that she and former President Donald Trump are virtually tied here with 50% each of the vote. This marks Harris's fourth trip here since launching her candidacy. Plus, even though she's only expected to make a few public appearances before she heads off to Philadelphia on Tuesday, she'll still be able to engage with voters and have some local headlines. One issue sure to come up on debate night is reproductive freedoms. And new this morning, the campaign has released a new ad that highlights comments from Trump about his part in reversing Roe v. Wade and stories from women who have been impacted since. The VP is coming off a big week for cash and political support, with Republican Liz Cheney and her father, former Vice President Dick Cheney, endorsing her, along with over 100 law enforcement officials from across the country and dozens of prominent CEOs, including James Murdoch, Mark Cuban, and Laurene Powell Jobs. And the Harris campaign says it raised $361 million in August, and that includes donations from 1.3 million first-time donors, and they're really hoping that that fresh excitement to fork over money turns into enthusiasm to go vote in November. Dana?
All right, Weijia, no shortage of headline-making news this election cycle. Thank you. We will have complete coverage of the presidential debate on Tuesday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on CBS. That will be followed
I'm
by
stoked
live.
for this. I'm stoked to watch
with
it.
a closer look at the presidential race, and joining us are ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks and contributing political correspondent Rachel Bade. Good morning to you both. Good morning. So, Rachel, let's start with you, because obviously we've got this big Dick Cheney sort of endorsement of Kamala Harris. That obviously shows that something's happening in the GOP, and obviously Kamala Harris is going to really capitalize on that.
Dick Cheney endorsing a Democrat. I mean,
Bro, these people are living in fucking la la land, okay? They are living in fucking not America, I think. Wow. What an incredible endorsement, dude. What an incredible endorsement. I am so stoked on this, dude. Oh, man, it's so sick. Like, guys, Adolf Hitler endorsed Kamala Harris, okay? I mean, wow, even Adolf Hitler doesn't like Donald Trump is not exactly the fucking argument that you want to be crafting, okay? It's not an argument at all that you should be posting out there. You should not be. Please don't say this. When Vladimir Putin also jokingly endorses Hillary Clinton, obviously he's fucking memeing, but like when he does that, you don't see that as a good flex. Just, you know, maybe you shouldn't do it with Dick Cheney either. Fuck me, dude.
none of us had this on our bingo cards, frankly. Donald Trump has tried to downplay this, saying that he's an irrelevant rhino, he's a sort of a has-been, but this is big. I mean, if you think about it, Dick Cheney was one of the single greatest boogeymen for Democrats for a long time. He was the architect of the Iraq War. They called him a war criminal, and he demonized Democrats in return. And now they're going to be working together, which is just something we never predicted just a couple of years ago. A few points on this. Number one, it's not going to convince a ton of Republican voters to vote for Harris, but it might influence some, and in a tight election, just a little bit matters.
Wow, it's a tight election. Just a little bit matters. Good thing that she has no fucking immediate easy W that she could capture by, re-examining her position on American foreign policy, re-examining her position on Gaza. Bro, they are literally trying to win over 8 total people across 8 different states. But there are hundreds of thousands of voters across every fucking swing state. And they're just like, nah. That's how you know it's bullshit, okay?
Matters at the margins here. It also gives Trump-wary Republicans who don't want to vote for him a reason to vote for Harris. I mean, this is a guy who's very influential, and he could inspire some of those votes. And lastly, I would say that the Harris campaign is absolutely going to capitalize on this. I mean, I was just talking.
I have seen people who should know better saying, but see, it means that he's saying Trump is that dangerous. No, it's that Dick thinks Kamala continues his vision of the country, whereas Trump will screw the pooch. This is a huge endorsement to run the fuck away from. Send that fuck to The Hague. Yeah, dude, I don't know what to say about this. Like, this is akin to like just only running the NATO campaign. You know, every time people yelled at Joe Biden, he would come and told him he was old. He would come out and be like, NATO, I did NATO. The Finlandization of NATO is alive. Instead of the Finlandization of NATO, I did the NATOization of Finland. I'm the voter for the AUKUS voter. Five Eyes. Real lies. Realize real. Jack. Five Eyes. Why? Dick Cheney opposed releasing Nelson Mandela Head Start programs, MLK Day, and promoted the Iraq War, but people are applauding him for endorsing Kamala. Promoted the Iraq War. He is the architect of the Iraq War. Dick Cheney was putting out like extraction maps of Iraqi oil fields in like 1994. He's been trying to invade Iraq since 94, man. What are we talking about? He is the Iraq War, okay? He designed the war, and he designed exactly how Americans would be able to take advantage of the Iraq War. Oh my lord. For younger chatters who might not understand, he was functionally the president. Dick Cheney is the only guy more evil than George W. Bush in the George W. Bush administration, because many of the things that George W. Bush signed off on, Dick Cheney wrote. Okay? That's it. Like George W. Bush, the only saving grace of him for all of this, like in terms of like getting the top slot of being the #1 war criminal, is straight up the fact that he's an absolute fucking dumbass. Here. Here. Talking about here is Frank Luntz, a reply guy of mine.
To try and sell the war on terror.
I'll reiterate, we are still being recorded, and there still may or may not be
The
clients
situation-
back behind the two-way.
These guys are pretty sharp. Go on.
There's a problem. The results show that people are confused.
You all support the president. You hate terrorism, yet you're still confused. Can you tell me why? Anybody?
Don't we have... In 2002, the Pentagon oversaw focus groups run by top-level PR execs like Tory Clark, author of the book Lipstick on a Pig, Winning in the No-Spin Era.
That's a lot of you, right?
Sorry, the focus group for Frank Luntz was the focus group testing for Frank Luntz was on the death tax that you know as the death tax. It used to be called the estate tax. He was the one who spun that into the death tax and figured out a way to like make it seem as though every American is impacted by it.
Right? Would it be less...
Also from the motherfucking Dick Cheney, another incredible Dick Cheney invention.
It's confusing if it was a country?
Damn right.
He's like, I got just the country, man. Since 1994, I've been pushing for this shit. For the record, those maps that they're showing here, they're real. Those are real maps. Real maps that existed since 1994. Okay? Like, Dick Cheney wanted to go to war with Iraq so they could take Iraq oil refineries and parse through all of Iraq's natural resources with American and Western gold as well. But still, the oil part is the most significant part of this process. Okay? Cheney's Energy Task Force mapped Iraq's oil fields during 2001. On January 29, 2001, just after he entered office, President Bush announced the creation of a new cabinet-level energy task force, National Energy Task Force, to be headed by Vice President Cheney. Given Vice President Cheney's close ties to the energy industry, there were concerns about potential conflicts of interest from the start. Here's an excerpt from the president question and answer session that afternoon. In closed meetings about a month later, Cheney's Energy Task Force discussed the map and charts shown below. This map of Iraq's oil fields shown above was obtained by Judicial Watch from the Commerce Department as a result from the group's Freedom of Information Act lawsuit regarding the activities of the Cheney Energy Task Force. It is dated March 5th, 2001. Foreign suitors for Iraqi oil field contracts. This is before 9/11. Okay? This is before 9/11. You need to understand. Cheney also, very famously, since 1994, was openly advocating to invade Iraq. Cheney has never stopped trying to invade Iraq, openly petitioning the government to invade Iraq.
It is about goddamn time.
It's called the Office of Special Plans. Tenet is not yet serious enough.
Why do people hate on that movie so much? Vice? It's Adam McKay's greatest work, in my opinion. This probably is his best work. If you are a long-term Hasanabi head, if you've been a fan for a while, you have probably seen every part of this movie, because I've watched through clips this movie probably 10 times over. I think it's better than Big Short.
That Saddam poses.
The American principle of putting black and brown people into positions of power to do the bidding of the white supremacist agenda continued through the George W. Bush administration as well. So before people go, oh, what do you mean? Like black people cannot be loyal servants and subjects and advocates of the Western chauvinist perspective. Well, the George W. Bush administration kind of did that a lot. Colin Powell, famously, Condoleezza Rice as well. Just remember that, okay? Just remember that.
To show that we will stand up for what we know to be right. To show that we will confront the tyrannies and dictatorships and
fucking demons, dude. They had this, bro, they have this fucking same attitude. Anytime there is any kind of war that America is in favor of, everybody gets up in arms and uses the same exact fucking statements across the motherfucking board and across the pond. Doesn't that just strike you as odd? It's just always, our enemies are always the evil ones. Our enemies are always evil. We have to kill them. We have to fight them. We have to kill them dead. Gotten over 200 plus hate replies to my comment. And private threads thought it was funny. Hassan Piker helped me so much. Is this your comment? Hassan may have saved me. Crowder to Hassan and private threats, and I thought it was funny. What is your comment? I don't even know what your comment is. The video itself is actually pretty solid. 13-year-old me switching from the worst side of YouTube to the best.
Don't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people like this in the chat. Crowder to Hassan, 200. I'm on the left, but Hassan is a terrorist sympathizer and a verifiable liar. Same shit, different toilet. Bro said Hitler to super Hitler. Steven Crowder is Hitler and I'm super Hitler. Dog. Hassan supports Russia just like the far right. Congratulations on meeting the horseshoe. The Russian army literally made an ad where they depicted Hassan Piker as a gay fake man who paints his nails. Hassan has been against Ukraine since day one and has been pro-Russia even after finding out people like Tim Pool and Lauren Chan were getting paid off by them. He literally raised hundreds of thousands for Ukrainians during his initial start of the war, announced this isn't justification. He explains that the U.S. is at fault and the only benefiting party from this. U.S. congressmen proudly said they destroyed Russia's army without sending a single U.S. soldier by giving Ukrainians their old weapons. It's so obvious they don't give a fuck about Ukrainian people. It's a really idiotic way of thinking. He justified Russia taking Ukrainian regions, said Ukrainians are Russians, and said that Ukrainians are Russians. Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, you got to be really fucking in. Like, I don't know how you can be like, I hate Steven Crowder because he's Hitler, and I hate Hassan way more because he's super Hitler. Like, what the fuck does that even? I need to understand the brains of some of these people. Like, how do you have that level of brain damage? By the way, 53 people liked it. like you have to have straight up like verifiable brain damage. For some reason recently, anytime you're mentioned on a page that's not a fan page, TikTok losers seem to think you love Russia and hate Ukraine. Yeah. It's gotten a lot worse recently. I don't know where it came from. I think maybe because like Ukraine is the subject matter again. And I've linked the hate video in Russian, but it got timed out. It has 500K viewers and the Russian streamers have reacted to it. Wait, what? Streaming is harder than working. Hasanabi worst streamers number 12. Oh, this isn't even about me like who's been heavily criticized lately. Yeah, no, this isn't even me like the only funny moment with him was when he was watching one satirical review of Twitch streamers where at some point the author joked about Asani. He immediately paused the video and started talking about something, but as soon as the video continued, the first phrase was, "Thank you for unpausing the video, Hassan." That person is a fan of mine. The hate Russia, the hater video from Russia has nothing to do with my positions on Russia's unjustifiable and illegal invasion of Ukraine. It's because your Israel takes ended up being right, so they had to move the goalposts. Yeah, I know. They're lashing out at everyone online who ever called for Ukraine to seek diplomacy early after watching the cursed offensive fall flat. Ay, ay, ay. This was a good Hassan shout out too. Yeah, I mean, that one is like, this one is a great video. But I mean, there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of fucking lovers. Who gives a shit? But yeah, overall, here, thankfully, I'm starving. The guy saying you're super Hitler has a, like, dude, there is no, like, the thing is, I just want to know. Why are you allowing a comment with 53 likes to drag you into the trenches, dog? No bus driver gives a fuck about this. No. This is entirely different. Hating Hassan is a whole industry of its own. The Hassan hater industrial complex. Yes. But I want to understand what like is going on inside the mind of a person who has arrived at this. Because like clearly their heart is in the right place. Because they're comparing Crowder to Hitler. You know what I mean? So like it's a little bit different than like it just is something just doesn't add up. You know what I mean? Because like if you think Crowder is Adolf Hitler, how the fuck did you arrive at me being like super Hitler? Like I just don't know. I don't know how you do that. Liberals have now fully bought into the double genocide conspiracy. No, this is beyond that, dude. I think you supported Russia at first because of some West imperialist bullshit, but now you support Ukraine because Russia is an actual far-right government. No, Russia was a far-right government even back then. I did not support Russia, okay? I always made the distinction between Russia's annexation of Crimea being very different than Russia full-blown invading Ukraine, okay? The outcome and the results were entirely different as well. Hold on. Dude, I never supported Russia. Like, this is a lie that has been kept up from the jump, and there are a shit ton of clip chimps and a shit ton of like 500,000 viewed YouTube videos on the subject matter that have continued for years and years and years and years. And that is precisely the reason why, like, if you ask enough people, I'm sure there's people who think like, I want children, like Israeli children, Jewish children to be murdered. There's a shit ton of videos on that too. It's just objectively untrue. Do you understand? Like, people just make shit up and then they go along with it. It's vibes based.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get.
You can guess who really wrote
Well,
it.
there's no need to yell, Larry. Yeah, well, we reviewed the speech. We gave some notes.
Oh, really? Doesn't help.
It was like, damn, Zerkawi mentioned. I didn't know I had the juice like that. Motherfucker was like, wait, what? Damn, dog. I didn't know it was popping like that. This is how fucking Kim Jong-un must feel. Anytime America brings his ass up. Like, he's like, what? Yo, that's me on the TV, bro. Hey, yo, they're talking about me on the big screen, dog. Yo, we made it. The consequences of such, careless decisions are obvious.
Not credible. An Al-Qaeda source tells us that Saddam and bin Laden reached an understanding that Al-Qaeda would no longer support activities against Baghdad.
By the time we invaded Iraq, 70% of Americans thought that Saddam Hussein was involved in 9/11.
Yep. That's why I always love when they show these polls in the media where there'll be like, remember, it was like 5 to 6 months, 5 to 6 months into like Israel's fucking invasion of Gaza and genocide of Palestinians. And there was a poll I remember that was very instructive where the poll said, I think like the majority of Americans don't know if more Palestinians or more Israelis have been killed in the conflict. And I was like, bro, you're just flexing at that point. That's what I like to call the media flexing, to show their work, basically, to be like, hey, see, this is what we did. Okay. I like that they act as though this happened totally at random, that like, you know, Americans at that point, by the way, it was like 20x, 30x or some shit, or 20x at that point. Or I mean, not, it was, I forget which point it was, but anyway, here, look, majority in the US say Israel has valid reason for fighting. Fewer say the same about Hamas. 57% expressed sympathy for both Israelis and Palestinians. Yeah, it was like, they could not figure out who was getting killed more. I wonder how.
Talking with someone close to the campaign, they said that this basically helps her build this, broad coalition that she's going to need to defeat Donald Trump. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see if she's all of a sudden touting Dick Cheney and either campaign ads or on stage. And wow, this is just sort of mind-blowing that that's happening.
It will be interesting to see how they try to capitalize on that. One of the top issues, of course, is the economy. And Mary Alice, an area where Trump has an edge in the polls, but we're seeing Harris really try to go on the offensive by unveiling new economic policies ahead of the debate.
Yeah, absolutely. She's going after these more moderate sort of Chamber of Commerce type Republicans. I mean, this was a bit of a Biden strategy, but she's really doubling down with some new policy proposals. She was out there pitching a 28% capital gains tax. That's an increase in the current tax, but way less than what President Biden was pitching. Probably also a little bit more reasonable, something that she might actually be able to get through Congress if she wins. And she pitched a 10-fold increase in tax deductions for small businesses. I mean, look, Democrats have long thought that these sort of Chamber of Commerce style Republicans don't feel like they have a home in the MAGA movement, that they're really still gettable. You know, it's going to be interesting on the debate stage, I think, too, if she zeroes in on the cost of childcare. This is something that, of course, businesses are talking about. It's impacting women in the workplace. And last week, Donald Trump got that question, what he would do to lower the cost of childcare. And he fumbled. I mean, he gave a word salad non-answer that a lot of people in the business community, a lot of moms, a lot of Democrats really jumped on. So I imagine that sort of across the board. To Rachel's point, you know, she's going to try to pitch herself as someone that is building a coalition, even on the economy, that includes everyone from Elizabeth Warren to Liz Cheney.
So, Mary Alice, let's talk more about the debate and some of the lines of attack that we could see both from Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
I'm thinking of this line in her stump speech. She says, Donald Trump, if you have something to say it to my face. I mean, those are fighting words. That is someone who sounds ready to rumble. Like, she has been absolutely itching for this. You know, the Democrats I talked to, they say that they want to see that prosecutor tone from her. They feel like there's so much for her to talk about, especially when it comes to January 6th, when it comes to election denial. You know, I think that they feel, a lot of Democrats feel like Hillary Clinton, even Joe Biden had their own baggage, but that she is maybe unique in that if she has less baggage, she can really focus in on Trump's baggage. You know, Trump, for his part, his lines of attack about her have been all over the board. You know, I think that we're going to likely see him focus on policy, talk about places where she's flip-flopped. But on the stump, he often says things like, she's just not smart. And I just feel like on the debate stage, those personal attack lines are not going to land.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Big pivotal debate coming up.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Mary Alice, Rachel Bade, as always, we appreciate it.
I'm honored to have their endorsement, and I think that what they both, as leaders who are well respected, are making an important statement that it's okay, and if not important, to put country above party. And I'm honored to have their support, and I think it's an important statement right now. A lot of what I think is happening, and I was just talking with some folks here in Pittsburgh about it, is that people are exhausted about the division and the attempts to kind of divide us as Americans. And them stepping up to make this public statement, I think, is courageous, but also for people like the folks I was just talking with, it really reinforces for them that we love our country and we have more in common than what separates us.
I think we forget that, like, that Republican Party was so unpopular, Americans voted for a black man. Okay? Like, that's how unpopular that Republican Party was. Okay? Like, that's it's kind of crazy to be like, those guys are, I'm glad that they're, you know, endorsing me. It's great. Yeah, they voted for a black man whose middle name was Hussein. They voted for a black man whose middle name is Hussein, bro.
The new equipment, the new systems that Al Gore and I are committed to giving them.
Bernie, this is a special interest of mine. I'd like a chance to elaborate further, if I might.
Because they need the new equipment, the new systems that Al Gore.
Some more news broke this down so great how Dems thought they had to go right. Okay, let's just hear what he had to say about how he broke the Democratic Party.
People don't really talk about what Reagan did to the Democrats, mainly because their evolution is more like a series of reactions to Reagan's popularity and policies. But there's a strong case to be made that without Reagan's political victories, the left-leaning party would be leaning a lot more left. But it's not all Reagan's fault. In fact, you can pin a lot of it on Jimmy Carter. Sorry, I know we all love the old elfish codger. Well, with the peanuts, and the guinea worm eradication, and the house building, and the huge dick. So, Long Jim came into office right at the end of both the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. Needless to say, people were fairly suspicious of public institutions. For this reason, Jimmy James, with the big old dick, originally ran as a Washington outsider, and by definition had to distance himself from New Deal politics. He was socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and ultimately his 1976 election win wasn't the big exciting, yes we can victory. For starters, he was running against Ford, the guy who took over after the crime guy stepped down. Americans were so unenthused that on election day, nearly half of all registered voters opted to stay home. Again, no one was particularly excited about the federal government at this point. The result being a guy who, bless his somehow still beating heart, appeared intent on pulling the Democratic Party closer to the center. So this is all to say that the Democrats kinda eked by with Carter, who firmly aimed for...
A lot of shit he did was ass. Like, he gets a pass so fucking hard because people, I think, falsely point to the trajectory of the Democratic Party shifting to the right with Bill Clinton, but Jimmy Carter was the OG. He was the method.
For the middle by focusing a whole lot on deregulation. And so, by the end of his first term, America was not doing so great. Unemployment, inflation, and economic stagnation were all very much a problem. Not to mention the Iranian hostage crisis, which Carter completely failed to solve and in fact cost the lives of 8 US service members. Boy, this all feels familiar for some reason. So, by the primaries, Carter had one of the lowest approval ratings ever. This resulted in turmoil within the party as Jimmy was challenged by Senator Ted Kennedy, who vocally desired to bring back the New Deal policies that had worked so well in the past. Weird how they just rejected that very popular stuff. It's just weird that Democrats did this really popular and good thing in the 1930s and into the late 60s, and then suddenly decided to reject it instead of bragging about it and building upon it. But Ted Kennedy also thought it was weird, and so he ran against Carter on that message. The infighting got so bad that there was nearly a fist fight at the DNC between Kennedy and Carter supporters. Not a great look when people already lost faith in the government. But man, boy, man, oh boy. Oh man, oh boy. So we got this establishment Democrat aiming for the middle while shutting out the more progressive side of the party as like a political tactic against a far-right candidate. It feels familiar.
And although he won primary contests in California and New York, it was Carter who arrived at the convention with a majority of delegates. But Kennedy, like Bernie Sanders today, argued he had the momentum and would do better against Ronald Reagan. Carter and Kennedy shook hands, but Carter's team never forgave Kennedy for weakening their candidate in the battle against Ronald Reagan.
Feels so familiar how they blamed Kennedy as if it's the progressives that cost them the election. Because, yeah, Carter was going to lose the shit out of that election. After all, he couldn't run as an outsider now that he was literally the president during a time where gas prices were super high and there was a crisis overseas. So familiar. And Reagan took full advantage of this situation, famously asking debate viewers, quote,
"Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?"
It was pretty bad.
Damn, I can't seem to put my finger on it, but like, even that line directly bar for bar is so familiar. Oh, well, it's probably nothing. We shouldn't think about that. It's probably insignificant, less significant than the top of the hour ad break, for example, especially if you're subscribed, because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
Also familiar, and the Carter camp's only...
Wait, what? Whoa, wait, what?
4 years ago.
It was pretty bad. Also familiar.
Are you better off now than you were when I was president? Our economy is shattered. Our border has been erased. We're in decline. Wait, what? What? Hey, yo, you mean to tell me Donald Trump, who tailored almost all of his fucking strategies, with the exception of the immigration stuff, off of Ronaldo Reagan, stole that too for word? That's crazy.
Familiar, and the Carter camp's only ace in the hole during their campaign was to point out correctly that Ronald Reagan,
I mean, even fucking Make America Great Again, by the way,
was a racist. And while that was, again, accurate, voters at the time saw the attacks as mean and negative. Boy, the Democrats resting their entire campaign on how the other guy is racist and bad? Why does that feel familiar? Anywho, Reagan won, and his victory was seen as the end for New Deal Democrats, which, again, weird, since that shouldn't have been the lesson here. Reagan didn't win against a New Deal Democrat. He ran against a Dem that specifically distanced himself from New Deal politics. Odd. But despite this, Reagan's dominance caused a new shift to the center. You know, because many politicians don't believe in anything except what it takes to stay in office. In 1981, 37 Democratic senators joined Republicans to pass Reagan's first major tax cut legislation. That legislation slashed personal, corporate, and estate taxes. As a result, reducing federal revenue by $750 billion and pushing lawmakers to make excessive cuts to public programs in an effort to make up the difference. But at least we got to pay less taxes, yeah? Kinda. The bottom tax bracket, as in the poorest Americans, saw their taxes cut from 14% to 11%, which is not nothing. That's like less than $100 back in the 80s, depending on your income. So almost nothing. Meanwhile, the wealthiest Americans...
Wait, who else did that? I can't think of it. I can't seem to put my finger on it, but I feel like there was another president that recently did that.
Had theirs cut from 70% to 50% for a total of $6.7 billion. If that doesn't sound like much, keep in mind that this is 80s money. The richest American at that time only had around $2 billion, also in 80s money, and was one of the very few billionaires in the country. Weird how there are so many more billionaires now. I wonder how the rich kept getting richer like that. And by the way, when I say wealthiest Americans, I am referring to only 82,000 Americans total. In other words, the literal 0.1%. Anyway, that same year, a Democrat-controlled House easily passed Reagan's budget plan, which included massive cuts to public programs and a near-total evisceration of the welfare system, resulting in almost 500,000 families getting kicked off of welfare and over 1 million workers losing their eligibility for unemployment benefits. But it was a small price to pay to lower Donald Trump's taxes specifically.
Thank you, Democrats. Very cool. I love bipartisanship. And you know there was dumbasses. There was no Twitch chat, obviously, back then. But if there was, I would be saying the exact same shit I'm saying right now. These guys are dumb as fuck. Why the fuck are you moving away from the New Deal style of progressive messaging? Americans clearly love this shit. You're so fucking stupid for not running this campaign. And people will be like, oh, you don't understand. Ronald Reagan hates that. And he's really popular. And then when he's in office, we'll push for his tax cuts and deregulation. We'll vote for it because we're fucking assholes. We're fucking corrupt assholes. And then people that defend those corrupt assholes be like, Hassan, you just don't understand. You need to have a really fucking high IQ to recognize that like neoliberalism actually was really good for the American economy. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It literally gutted all of our institutions. Oh, no.
Cool. So, cut to 1984, and Reagan would once more crush his Democratic opponent, in this case, Walter Mondale. Mondale primarily ran on tax hikes aimed to fix the budget, which sounds super exciting, but at this point, the economy under Reagan was recovering, and ultimately, Mondale never really had a shot at the big chair. His big focus was the growing deficit and more abstract and long-term issues that completely failed to charge people up. A real mitt, if you will. In fact, Mondale lost so hard to Reagan that he freaking quit politics. Mitt. Oh, snap. I guess he listened to me back in 2023. All right. Anyway, this loss caused the Democrats to continue to believe that their party needed to move even more to the right, specifically by
It's so funny because Dems love losers so much they love Mitt Romney.
focusing on fiscal responsibility and distancing themselves from the so-called special interest groups that originally glommed onto the New Deal. You know, unions, black people, women, environmentalists, gays, otherwise known as people. This continued to make zero sense since Mondale wasn't a progressive candidate, and if anything, the lesson here should be to stop aiming for the middle. Like, even political analysts at the time saw this move as a massive miscalculation, pointing out that the New Deal policies themselves were still very popular among the American public. Sort of like those polls that find that socialized healthcare is popular among American voters as long as you don't call it that. And this misguided idea that New Deal liberalism and progressive policies were unpopular dug in even further after Michael Dukakis lost to George H.W. CIA Bush, Reagan's vice president, in 1988. Now,
who may or may not have killed JFK. May or may not have. He does not remember what he was doing in Dallas at the time. He was there. He just doesn't remember what he was doing that day. We don't know. We don't know if he was responsible. He simply does not remember. He was in the area and he can't recall.
Talked about, but will later, is how Reagan and the GOP had gradually changed their campaign strategies to, dare I say, scumbag shit. For example, remember the Iran hostage crisis that Carter dealt with? A fun little fact there is that Reagan actually had political operatives in the Middle East during that time who were there specifically to convince leaders to hold on to the hostages until after the...
Dude, wait, what? Wait, hold on. Guys, this seems kind of familiar. I can't seem to put... I know I keep repeating myself. This seems kind of familiar. I can't seem to put my finger on it. Oh, well, I'm sure it won't happen again, and it's certainly not happening right now. It must be a fucking coincidence.
Election. Wow. Fucking wow. Disgusting.
This is why I tell you all the time, I don't have the fucking gift of prophecy, okay? I guess, read more than you did about what America did back then, because ain't nobody is changing the system, dog. So they keep doing it. Nixon did it too. And so did Reagan. And so is Donald Trump.
This is all to say that Reagan was obviously very much still involved with the campaign against Dukakis and heavily pushed the idea that the Democratic candidate was a spendocrat liberal. And while that didn't have to be a death sentence, amazingly, Dukakis spent most of this campaign denying that until right before the election. Basically, the GOP wagged their finger and shrilled, "He's a liberal," while Dooku shouted back, "Nuh-uh, I'm not." And then, a month before the election, was like, "Actually, I kinda am." In other words, the Democrats had moved so far away from progressive politics that they instinctively treated accusations of it like a slur, the result being a perpetual state of defense against an opposing party that was more than...
God, there's just... God, it seems so... Again, it's weird. It seems so familiar. It seems so familiar. I wonder what the chatters would have been saying back then. Hassan, you don't understand. Actually, the broad majority of Americans are actually moderate and want, tax credits for new startups being launched. They definitely hate broad, sweeping, progressive, universal programs. They hate that. I think one of the funniest aspects of this never-ending cycle of stupidity is the objectively false notion that, like, Democrats are doing anything to fucking win. Okay? Like, they're not. once you just drop that notion, this becomes much clearer for you. You know, the idea that like Democrats want to win and that's why they're making these decisions is just manufactured consent. You're a fucking idiot for believing it. You are dumb for believing it. Some Democrats do genuinely think that this kind of attitude is actually going to help them win, but many don't give a fuck. Okay, they're lining their goddamn pockets. If you can understand that about AIPAC, you can understand that about every fucking other lobbying group.
Happy to trash Dukakis for things like his mental health. Of course, there were other people helping Dukakis lose along the way. CNN, for one.
Governor, if Kitty Dukakis were raped and murdered, would you favor an irrevocable death penalty for the killer?
Oh, so that's where that Simpsons gag came from. Also, what the fuck, CNN? What the fuck? That question is designed to have no good...
They did that to Bernie Sanders in Massachusetts, where they were like, you want prisoners to be able to vote? You want prisoners to be able to vote? Does that mean you want the Boston Marathon bomber to be able to vote? Also by CNN.
Answers. Holy.
That question seems familiar. Has anyone ever asked you things like that in chat? No, never. Chatters would never come in with that idiotic ass fucking question. They'd be like, oh, what if your fucking family members are raped and murdered? Oh, what then, libtard? Bitch, you'd want the death penalty then, dumbass. It's like, yeah, dude, that's why we don't make the fucking victims' family members sit on the jury, you fucking dingus. There's an entire reason for that, you know? Yeah. Understandably, you would be a little bit more emotional about it, but the law is not supposed to be that way. Do you want prisoners to vote, lol? Yes, I do. What are they gonna do? Vote for crime to be legal? Is that what you think is going to happen? Yes, of course I want prisoners to vote. What are you, fucking stupid? They're human beings, dog. One of the coolest parts of one of the only good things about American democracy is that you can literally run for president from prison, okay? And one of the best runs for president did actually happen from prison, Eugene V. Debs. Now, having said that, I think on principle it's a good idea. It's a good thing. Okay? But beyond that, I think prisoners should also be able to vote. There is no better way to ensure that there's some kind of reform. They're already fucking collected in the census data. It is ridiculous. They're enslaved. They are, not only are they like legally slaves, okay? That is what they are. It is in the law, okay? Not only are they enslaved, they're also, you know, playing a role in how large the district is and what kind of funding the district gets, but have no say in where that funding goes. They're still fucking human beings. It's crazy to me that, like, fundamentally, I think one of the worst aspects of the 13th Amendment that plays a major role in Americans, like, backwards thinking in terms of, like, what prison is supposed to look like and what prison is supposed to be for, okay, is that slavery is not illegal across the board. That slavery can still be utilized as a means of punishment. This is literally at the heart of the problem. Okay? I don't think they should. It's a waste of resources for people that got removed from society. Dog, do you think when someone goes to prison, they're removed from society? You realize that there is, like, it's not permanent. Like, no one is, like, people do get permanent sentences, but, like, the broad majority of prisoners are not there forever. It's actually that fact. That is when they can go out, they can vote then. First of all, I already gave you sneakily the actual reasons as to why I think prisoners should be able to vote. You just didn't pick up on it. But one, they should. You're right. Felon vote restoration is actually pretty fucking profoundly popular, like in the state of Florida, where it won by massive margins, and then Ron DeSantis still instituted a poll tax regardless. That was unconstitutional, but doesn't matter because America's not a real democracy, nor does it care about doing good things. That's number one. Number two, they should still be able to vote even while they are in prison. And yes, I mean, like, pedophile child rapists do still get one singular vote in that process, okay? Because the broad majority of prisoners are not pedophile child rapists, okay? And regardless of what the fucking position is, and this is not me saying I, like those people. Of course I don't. They're evil fucking scumbags. Having said that, however, they are still evil fucking scumbags that deserve to have one singular vote because the broad majority of prisoners are currently being treated as subhuman. Okay? As a prisoner, I disagree with you. How can you verify that we've been effectively rehabilitated? Just hypothetically. I'm a prisoner, by the way. I'm a prisoner and I love prison, which is where I can tune into the twitch.tv/Hasanabi broadcast.
Damn, this guy's good.